Hello, I'm at Hurst Priory, built in the early to mid-18th century. This country house is in the parish of Belton on the Isle of Axholme in North Lincolnshire. The Priory is a regally charming, historic, multi-award winning wedding and event venue located in beautiful grounds. My name is Stuart Mcfarlane Bedford, and today I will be presenting sessions on the art of sales. We don't like being sold to, but we love buying. So this is what the art of sales does. If your business does not sell itself in the right way, or you or your staff do not present what you do, what your offer is, in a clear and concise way to potential customers, how will they understand and how will they know what you do? And if you don't do that, you won't win new business. I hear people say to me, I cannot sell. I'm not a natural born salesperson. I don't like selling. I don't want to sell something to somebody that doesn't want to buy it. My answer to this is, salespeople are created, they're not born. In business, we are always selling ourselves, whether we know it or not. Everybody in the organization is part of that sales process. People do not buy things they don't want. But do you not believe in your hotel or your visitor attraction, they're great places, or do you not believe that your restaurant food is fantastic? Well, surely you want to share that with the potential customers. I want to dispel the myth about sales, the ill-informed perception that selling is a process of forcing someone to buy things they don't want, when actually a successful sales pitch is about a structured conversation where relevant facts are communicated that are of great interest to the potential customer. So, what is sales all about? People love buying, but they don't like being sold to. Therefore, do not sell to them, but instead concentrate on getting them to buy. So what we need to do is we need to create, as part of our sales presentation, the right condition for them to buy. So in session one, it's all about being prepared, understanding your role if you are selling something. And we're going to look at two things. We're going to look at the principles of sales, and we're going to look at some sales techniques. First, let's just understand the relationship between marketing and sales. And I use the word marketing before sales, because the marketing team have the knowledge of the potential market. They create and develop the marketing messages. The marketing activity comes first. Otherwise, how will people know about your product or your service? So after the marketing comes the sales. Now, the sales team will know about the client base. They develop the offer, what the cost is and what's the components of that offer. They turn the marketing messages into sales messages, which is about features and benefits. And then they present it appropriately, and we'll come back to that word, appropriately, to the potential customers. So I'm going to let you into a secret now. Sales is transactional, but buying is emotional. And there are only two reasons why someone buys. And it's either want or need. And we're going to go into more detail and discuss that. So when we look at want, it's about you want a product, or you want a service, or you want an experience. And that's emotional. A want is, I've got that money, I want something for myself. And it tends to be a consumer decision. Whereas need, I need a product, I need a service, I need an experience. Emotion is replaced by logic, and it tends to be a business decision. So we will discuss that in more detail. Let's understand the principles of sales. And there are some sales truths here. The art of selling is to create the condition for buying. And what salespeople should remember, that they have 2 ears and 1 mouth. What the customer wants to know is what's the benefits to them, not just what are the features of that product and service. So the principles of sales is about communication. And the most successful people in business are good communicators. And communication accounts for about 85% of your success in business life. And that is split. 70% of that time should be listening, and only 30% of that time should be talking. Because when you're listening, that's when you start to understand the customer. So let's have a look at some sales techniques. And selling is not about talking. This is a huge myth where you get these fast-talking salespeople. Actually, selling is about listening, and it's about understanding. So there's 4 things that we're going to look at. We're going to talk about listening, talking, body language, and motivation. So within listening, there are 4 types of listening. The first is cosmetic. So this is when you're in a meeting. It might be a bit boring, and actually you're not really listening, or you're sat somewhere in an audience and it's not very exciting. So you're pretending you're listening, cosmetic listening. The second is conversational listening. Now, this is where you might be in the pub with some friends, just having a chat, or you sat at the dinner table with family and you're just chatting and there's various opinions being thrown in and it's all very light and very, very enjoyable. Now, when we come to sales, we come to the third one, and we really need to be doing active listening. So active listening is where you're really concentrating, you're very focused on what the person is saying, in particular, what the content of that conversation is. And then the last one is deep listening. So if you can get into a deep listening mode, this is really good, because that's not only are you listening to what's happening and focusing on the content, but you're processing it further, thinking, what's the reason behind this request, or what's the reason why something is being said in a certain way. So those are the 4 levels of listening: cosmetic, conversational, active, and deep. And I like to say listening with ears. And what I mean by that is not these here. I mean ears, as in E stands for empathy. So that's about understanding the position of the potential buyer. Is it someone who is under pressure from their boss to get something organized, like a business conference? Or is it a dad who's under pressure to try and organize a family holiday? So you need to empathize their position. The second is about acknowledge. So when you're in those discussions, make various responses. Understand and and nod, just so that they know that you're listening. The third is about reflect. So repeat certain words or phrases that they use, because that builds a rapport between you. And the last one is about summarize. Frequently summarize what you've just heard. It means that they understand that you've heard them correctly and you've understood. And for you, it means that you understand what has been said and you understand it correctly. So listening with ears. And that leads us on to just the summary around good listening habits. So it's about being present. It's about being present in that meeting, in that discussion. It's about keeping an open mind, not being judgmental about anything that's said. It's about using their terminology, which makes them feel more comfortable. It's about listening between the lines, trying to understand why that this is being said or why it's being said in a particular way, summarising back to the client what they've said so that everyone's clear, you both understand, and making those suitable listening noises. So that finishes the first sales technique on listening, and this summarises the first video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be talking about more sales techniques in the second session, and where we'll be covering talking, body language, and motivation. Please follow the link for the second session. Please go to businesslincolnshire.com for more bite-sized videos and information.